just saying I do agree with you, but you have to be able to take this stuff, this product in your head, then write it out and then present it, and that it's like a supply chain. There was a kid who was doing. It's a supply chain my supply chain is completely screwed up. I can't get the product out from here to the page to the market. I need to hire somebody. I need to hire this kid last night that was from Rutgers University. His name was Akash Anand, and he was a supply chain manager. And I was like, oh, dude, is that coding? Like, I totally stereotyped him. He's an Indian kid. Oh, you must be coding. He's like, no, it's supply chain. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm a racist. I'm sorry. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So yeah, I was like, well, there goes my Indian voice bit. I was like, I better not do that tonight. I'm never gonna do it. I'm not ever doing my Indian voice bit. I'm gonna put that to rest. I did it on one of the podcasts here. Now I know I'm not allowed to do my Indian voice bit, but I didn't do it. He made me think of it when he was there. But yeah, so the problem is. That's the problem.
That's not racist. That's observation. Racist.
I don't know.
If you're going to be a racist Indian,
we're in a weird area though now. If like I do the voice of an Indian guy, if I do that voice that people do, they're like, that's racist. So we're heading towards where that comedy gets weird.
That's why you do it, because you need to counter any extreme. The reason everything is so politically correct now was because everything was so politically correct. And so anything you say now is like, oh my gosh, so we're now so oversensitive. I think everybody feels it now, because you have good people going, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to do. And I go, are you a good person or not, right? But now we're all tiptoeing with the safe spaces. And it's tough being a white guy, not you, me. No, it's tough being a white guy because you're considered the source of all things evil, right? So a lot of comics have it easier who are people of non-color.
It's so funny because I did a bit about, I told you I had a bit about my mom calling my dad a Nazi bastard, right? This is funny after the show. So I did the whole bit about my mom calling my dad a Nazi. The premise is no, you can say nothing to offend me as a white guy. I'm not going to be triggered or get upset. So you can call me any name in the book. I go, my mom tried it with my dad. She used to call him a Nazi bastard. And there's this whole bit that I do after it, right?
Stuart is of German heritage for those who...
Yeah, because my father's German. My last name is really Stuck. So it was a Stuck. It was a U with an omelet over it. So it was, when we came over, my dad's family came over, they changed it to Stu Eck. So anyway, this one girl goes to me jokingly. She's like, so you're not really a Nazi, are you? After the show, like, are you not really a Nazi? And I stupidly say back to her, I'm like, fighting that DNA every every day. Instead of just saying, I'm not a Nazi, I go, fighting that DNA every day. But we were Nazis. We were not
Nazi, are you?
Yeah, no, I just was like, so caught up. Instead of just being like, no, of course, instead of making a joke about it, I made it like deep and serious, like I'm fighting that DNA every day. Like, no, I just said, no, I'm totally not a Nazi. Did you not miss the bit? I don't think I would be here. I don't know if Nazis are crossing over to break into the weed industry and the diversity issue. I think, again, it was just really funny that you hear things like that after the show. Right. And I wish I had engaged her more because it could have extended the bit. But again, I think I was like, so when she said it, I was like, I don't know why I ran away. I should have stayed right there in the moment. And I sometimes I get like that. After the show, it was weird. We were going, normally when you do a show, you're waiting for adulation, but I was going over to each comic, making sure they were okay, and making sure Ed was okay with the show, and I was just like checking on everybody. I've changed a little bit. I was trying not to be a dick, where I thought, this is really a progressive, pot-smoking, cool people, and I really need to get on this level, man, because I'm not going to be able to do it with the weed, so I need to do it internally. I really need to be a better person, So that was the goal last night. And like I said, I think it affected my act. I didn't go into the audience. I wasn't really hosting, And on that note, I came home last night and I was watching lots of stand-up on Pluto TV on my Fire Stick, and my old roommate, Joe Matarese, was on Gotham Live.
This is when I found out my dad had anxiety, too. We took a cruise together, which I don't recommend. Don't do that. We take a cruise together, and my dad, we pulled away from Fort Lauderdale. He's looking out the porthole, and he's just going... I'm like, what's going on, Dad? He's like, I don't know. I think I'm having one of my anxiety attacks. I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, I've had an anxiety problem most of my life. I'm like, oh, thanks for telling me now. I thought it was a freak of nature for 40 years. I go, Dad, why would you not tell me about your anxiety problem? This is what he says. He goes, I thought it might have skipped a generation. I go, this isn't fucking Teen Wolf. I'm Joe Matarese.
He did a set, and I wanted to contact him because he's so good at hosting. He's so good at going to the audience. His material is like okay, it's not outstanding, but when he goes into the audience, he's so real and so funny, and it's his biggest strength. And I feel like he doesn't use it. And I was like, I'm gonna contact him, and I was like, nah, I better not. That's weird. But that's what I feel like I hold back on people. I feel like like if you can contact them and tell someone like, hey, you know what you're really good at and you should focus on, but he may be like, dude, no, I like doing stand-up. I don't want to do it that way. He has a podcast. He was my roommate for a year. We didn't really hit it off. We had completely different viewpoints on life and everything. Yeah, vibe, just a total different vibe. But it's funny to see him still out there. He got bounced off America's Got Talent. He made it through a little bit. His name is Joe Matarese. But I watched him last night. I was like, should I contact this dude and say, dude, you're great at hosting. You're great when you go in the audience. Your material, when you go into wow. So, but I don't know. Maybe today I will contact him. I feel like, I got to contact these people and see. He has a podcast. Maybe we should go on there and talk about what it was like to be roommates because it was rough, man. It was
all of that energy that we talked about where you're all over the place and everything else. Again, that doesn't seem to be the problem because using that would be an asset. So your problem isn't bad energy. Your problem is that you're a bad writer.
Well, but I feel the same. I mean, I feel like I'm a bad writer.
You need to put that. You just need to take all of that gift.
And I probably wouldn't even be able to say it right without offending him. And I think about last night. I'm like, why didn't I stay in that moment when that girl, when she was like, "You're not really a Nazi," man, that was like a perfect moment to stay in there and write this dialogue down between this person who still thinks I just did 40 minutes of comedy or whatever, or I don't know how long I was on stage, and she's still questioning whether I'm a Nazi now. Now maybe she was joking, but it would have been really great to go further with that.
You got to offend. I'm of the wide comic belief that's your sanctuary. People are paying to go to your sanctuary, and it's a sanctuary's rules, right? It's a 401c, and so you go there. You know how it works, okay? And so you can't cater to the people outside of that sanctuary. And there's nothing offensive. It's different from like Kramer, who goes out and is like fighting with the person in the audience and he's saying the N-word. He's not doing comedy. He's an angry man reacting in a horrible way. But if someone's offended in the audience, well, okay, this is not your style or you don't like comedy or whatever, but I don't think comics should adjust to the rules outside of that sanctuary. And so and I think most comics believe that, and I'm of that mind. You don't have to be offensive, but if you offend someone, who cares? This is the rules of our house.
I don't know. I feel like more like comedy to me is more like Bruce Lee. You have to be water. You have to form. You have to shift. Sometimes you have to shift and get into the mode you're supposed to be in. And I was trying to do that because it was a little bit out of my comfort zone. I know how to be a professional dick from the stage, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to do that. I want to try to bend a little bit. I want to try to be more present and not make this all about me. And I still think I felt like I did, but I think the other interesting part is I wanted to ask you, so you can pontificate on this, is, I had never been to a sanctuary. I had never been to a place like this. I didn't know what the rules were. I didn't know what my rule of conduct was. I didn't know what kind of vibe I was going to get. I didn't know what kind of audience I was going to get. I didn't know how Ed was going to be. There were so many dynamics going on. That's why I did it. That's why it intrigued me. If it had been just a regular gig, I probably would have bailed. But I was jacked. I was like, and I don't get jacked about stand-up. I was like, I want to go down there and meet this guy. I want to see this joint, Weed Man's joint. This is like comedy gold. Like this is an unbelievable night to go to. And then everything about it was great. I can't say anything. The only weird part about it is, again, if you want to know what thin line and why comedy is so hard for me is the most. So I got paid $100 to do this, which was like I would have done it for free. I wouldn't even care. $100 doesn't mean jack, right? But that I was going to pay the $100, it added to the pot. So the hardest part of that night was getting that money because I don't think Ed remembers that he's supposed to pay me. I don't know who I'm supposed to go through. I don't want to be rude, and it's always this. When you perform, getting your money is always the weirdest part. And the part that I really don't like. I'd rather just have a manager like, dude, did that check come in? Like, I'd rather just, have somebody else deal with this. But I had to corner him at some point and be like, hey, Markland said I'd get paid $100 for this. He was like, oh, I didn't know, man. He's like banging his head on the wall, like, oh, I had no idea. He's like, all right, man, that's cool. And he brings it out and he hands it to me, and I walk out. I'm like, all right, yeah. But that was stressful, and like, I don't know, maybe you have to be able to get off on that. Like, yeah, I'm getting my fucking money. This is it. For me, I stayed an extra hour because I was so intimidated by the task as a 53-year-old comic to go and get my money. So again, I mean, there are people, it might be hard for people to understand the ability to do jokes in front of people anywhere for any size crowd, but not be able to walk up to the guy who owes you money for what you just did and say, hey, we need to square up. I had to wait an hour to get my gumption up.
Right, you got the gumption.
To corner him and be like, we need to settle up and get my money. And he's like, all right, dude. And I was like, and I got my money. I was like, phew. So
yeah, I love gumption with onions and tomato sauce.
You hate when I use my vocabulary. Like, that guy's got some vocabulary.
It's a backwards compliment because you portray yourself, or for lack of a better phrase,
as the dumb jock. I'm just a dumb jock. I'm the dumb jock trying to better himself. Always.
I'm playing into that as a reverse compliment that you are extremely intelligent.
And I will tell you, I bet you if I went back to all my high school friends, they'd be like, yeah, still dumb jock. And all my high school friends were I was hanging out with more elevated people. Everybody that I hung out with, my ex-girlfriend was like honors classes, and my friends were all in student council and going to great schools, and I was the dude who was going to stay home and go to community college and end up becoming a security guard. I mean, it's all par for the course. If they saw me, they'd be like, security guard. Hey, you never made it doing stand-up. We didn't think it was going to happen for you. We kind of knew you didn't have the full skill set for that.
Yeah.
But they never knew that I was struggling with all sorts of mental issues. Saying they had no clue. A couple maybe did, but not too many of them. Mental issues just rampant in my family. I don't want to out anybody from my family, but mom and dad.
And my dad has anxiety too. It's like it's gone through the whole family, right? But my dad never told me about his anxiety because my dad's 70. Old people didn't grow up in the time of letting their kids know about their quirks and dysfunctions, right? That's bullshit. That's not the way to raise kids. Like I said, I have a 5-year-old and I have an 11-month-old daughter, okay? I let them both know every day. I do. In the morning, right? Before school, I'm like, listen, your dad's got mental problems. There's a good chance you might have some mental problems. I'll be driving my 5-year-old to kindergarten. I'm like, hey, just wanted to let you know you might feel the walls closing in at some point today.
Everybody's parents, and that's in some form or not.